breaking this down wrong.
What do you think they're going to do when they are... These demons have been in the pit for centuries. What do you think they're going to do when they are released? Verse 7. In appearance, the locusts were like horses prepared for battle.
As you can see there, his imagery is all about, you know, how do you say it? Not verbatim, but it's like, oh man, what's the word, man? He's taking the word, it's literal. You know, he's taking the words literally. You know, when the scripture speaking in a poetic sense, really is John using his terminology of that day to describe what he saw in the vision for these end days. And again, we're talking about World War I. So he saw World War I, and the only way he could describe it was locusts like unto horses, prepared unto battle. All right. But see, he's taking it all into some fantasy world, some mythological, and this is what Esau does, man. And people like this type of stuff, man. They, oh my gosh, there's going to be horses with wings, like, you know, they like that type of stuff. They like X-Men and comic book type stuff. Let's go.
On their heads were what looked like crowns of gold. Their faces were like human faces.
Yeah, so that's talking about that's talking about the crowns of gold. It's talking about the airmen in the planes. They had crowns. The German fighters had crowns, or like they had helmets with hair, like almost like a, you know, like horse hair coming out the top. You can actually find that in pictures, you know, on Google. All right. And these German fighters, air fighters, they were flying in these biplanes that look like locusts. When you look at a German biplane, the wings actually look like locust wings. Okay. And on some of these planes, they actually had faces, you know, drawn on the side of the plane. All right. But I don't. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, I'm gonna refrain from saying that their faces were as the faces of men. So really, I think that's really what it's going into, is that men were actually manning the crafts, man, the so-called locusts. All right, the aircrafts, the biplanes. All right, verse 8 says, and they had hair as the hair of women, and their teeth were as the teeth of lions. All right. So, you know, he shows the depiction, you know. But I think that actually is going into, and Salaki for the back and forth, but that's actually going into the side of the plane being painted with imagery. You know, correct me if I'm wrong, though. A brother can correct me if I'm wrong. But verse 9 says, and they had breastplates, as it were breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings were as the sound of chariots of many horses running to battle. All right. Yeah, so that's, you know, that's the engine of the airplane. Okay. All right, verse 10. And they had tails like unto scorpions, and there were stings in their tails, and their power was to hurt men 5 months. All right. So for a time, you know, duration of the war. The stings in the tail is like scorpions. Is not talking about an actual scorpion tail. It's talking about the gunner in the back of the biplane. So a lot of these planes were manned with two manned aircrafts. In the back, the guy in the back was the gunner, and he had a machine gun. And that's what was doing a lot of the damage to everything in the war. You got the dog fights. You got the gunner. He might shoot at soldiers on the ground. That was doing a lot of devastation, man. That's high technology back in those days, and this is what Esau is blessed with, man. That's the blessing of Cain, actually. Who was the progenitor of, I believe, Tubal Cain, who started the first Salakia. How do I say it? His gift was in music and weaponry. Where is that at? His gift was in music and weaponry. Yeah. I was just watching that. Elder Yashawamba did a lesson, and he just dropped that about. It's a real good lesson too about he was connecting Esau, so like Edom, to Cain. All right. Where does it say? Yeah. So he brought up ChatGPT, and this was one of the bullet points. It says moral decay in his line. It's talking about Cain's line. It says Cain's descendants are portrayed as becoming increasingly wicked. Again, Esau, Edom, so-called white man, is a descendant of Cain. It says they advanced in technology and the arts, metalworking, music, etc. Said, but Josephus, so this is in the book of Josephus, sees this not as a cultural progress, but as scions of moral degeneration. All right, he accuses them of leading lives of violence, pride, and sensual indulgence. And now, if that don't describe the so-called white man, I don't know what does, man. I don't know what does. All right, so that his technology, it's always used for violence. It's always used for to boast in his pride and his sensual indulgence, his warlike nature, his bloody and warlike nature. All right. So we see that here, in this World War I. Verse 11, Revelation 9 and 11, and they had a king. That king is Kaiser Wilhelm II. He was the last German emperor in 1888 to about 1918. All right. And the word Kaiser goes back to Caesar. All right, it says, and they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon. Abaddon goes to the word destroyer. All right. But in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon. All right. And so, what's the word for destruction? What does perdition mean? Son of perdition. Remember? Son of perdition means the son of destruction. Where's that at real quick? All right. And that son of perdition is being revealed right now. This is the book Second Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 3, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first. All right. And that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. All right. So we fell away from our power. You know, when the Romans sacked us in 70 AD and we were scattered throughout all nations. So it's not a black thing. All right. So we fell away from our power and we were brought low into a low position. But now that son of perdition, that son of destruction is being revealed, man. Esau, Edom. All right. So Revelation, we'll just end it off on the first scripture that we started with, for the most part, to try to straighten out that breakdown. Revelation 9 and verse 12, one woe is past. So that World War I is in the past. And behold, there come two woes more hereafter. So, you know, the second world war, that's also in the past. But we're going to have a third world war coming soon. Revelation 11 and verse 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. Yeah. So the second world war is done. All right. And we're going to have this third war, this third world war, that war of Armageddon, that war of mountains of troops, man. Soon, man, the valley of Jehoshaphat, the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, the valley of Yahweh's decision, in the so-called Middle East. So, Lord willing, I was edifying. I want to give all glory, honor, and praise to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rachak Wadash. If there's, as far as that 8th verse, you know, the teeth of lions and the faces, and the 7th verse where it says their faces were as faces of men. You know, if I can find something, if I can clarify that a little better, I'll post it in the video. All right. Shalom.